How dare you touch my wife in my own house? The shout exploded through the marble dining hall so loudly that the chandelier trembled. For a moment, even the electric hum of the Lagos night seemed to freeze. Family members, dressed in bright ankara and lace, jerked their heads toward the source of the voice. The groom himself, billionaire mogul Beccari Dlamini, standing at the head of the long mahogany table, his fists clenched, his face twisted with rage. What would you do if your husband said this to you on your wedding night? Hit like if you've ever experienced betrayal, and comment where you're watching from. His new bride, Ebel, sat 2 seats away, her fingers trembling around her wine glass. Her eyes were wide, not with guilt, but confusion. Pure, raw confusion. She whispered, "Beccari, what are you talking about?" But Beccari wasn't hearing her. Not tonight. Not on the night he'd expected celebration, unity, dancing, and praise. Not on the night he thought he was finally reclaiming the warmth he'd lost since his mother's death 2 years earlier. Instead, he was staring at his longtime personal guard, Bode, towering, silent, and visibly shaken, his uniform soaked in sweat. Beccari jabbed a finger at him. "Tell them. Tell everyone what you told me behind the kitchen. Tell them what you were doing with my wife." A stunned gasp rippled from one end of the table to the other. Elder aunties clutched their gelly. Cousins covered their mouths. Ebel stood slowly, shaking her head. "Beccari, I don't understand. I wasn't with anyone. I was fixing my necklace in the hallway." "Oh, stop lying," Beccari barked, flipping his wine glass so it shattered on the tiled floor. "Bode just confessed. He said he saw you, touched you, kissed you, that you've been sneaking around since before the wedding." The room broke out into whispers as thick as smoke. Bode looked horrified. "Sir, I never said." "Shut up," Beccari thundered. "You think you can deny it now after admitting everything? In my own house." Ebel looked from her husband to the guard, her voice breaking. "Beccari, please. Someone is lying. And it's not me." But Beccari's eyes were filled with something much darker than anger, something like fear, insecurity, a wound she didn't yet understand. Earlier that evening, the wedding reception had flowed like a dream. Yoruba drums, high-life music, photographers everywhere capturing the luxury wedding of Lagos' billionaire golden son. But once they arrived home for the private family dinner, meant to be an intimate bonding moment, everything shifted. It all started when Beccari disappeared into the hallway for several minutes. No one knew he had overheard a fragment of conversation. No one knew jealousy had already begun burning quietly in his chest. Now every family member sat frozen, waiting for an explanation that made sense. Ebel lifted her chin. "Bode, tell my husband the truth." The guard swallowed hard. Sweat trickled down his temple. "Ma, I swear on my life, I did not touch you. I only told Oga that I saw you standing with someone earlier in the hallway, but..." "With who?" Beccari demanded. "With..."
"I don't know, sir."
The lights were dim. "I thought maybe it was someone else." Beccari scoffed loudly. "So, what? Now you're saying my eyes deceived me? My instincts deceived me? On my own wedding night?" Ebel touched her chest, voice trembling. "Your instincts are lying to you tonight, my husband. Something is wrong. Someone is twisting things." Beccari pointed at her like she was a stranger, not the woman he married hours ago. "Oh, I know exactly what's wrong. I married a pretender. A woman who smiled for the cameras while slipping off to warm another man's bed." Ebel gasped as if struck physically. Auntie Funmi, one of Beccari's mother's elder sisters, rose quickly. "Beccari, this is madness. You cannot accuse your new wife like this. Calm down." But Beccari was beyond calm. He snapped his head toward the older woman. "Auntie Funmi, please don't interfere. I know what I heard. I know what I saw. And I know what Bode said." Bode raised his hands helplessly. "Sir, you misunderstood me." "Enough!" Beccari roared again. Then came the moment that made everyone stop breathing. Beccari slammed both palms on the table so hard the silverware jumped. His voice dropped into a low, trembling growl. "Ebel, on my mother's grave, tell me the truth. Were you with Bode tonight?" Her voice broke into a whisper only God could lift.
No.
I swear no. But Bakery wasn't done. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and waved it like a weapon. My cousin texted me that he saw you entering a guest room with a tall man. A tall man wearing black. Bode wears black. And when I came to confront you, Bode confessed he saw you with someone. Why are there so many coincidences, Ebel? Why? The room erupted into arguments, family members defending, accusing, whispering, speculating. Ebel felt her knees weaken. Whoever Bakery's cousin was, they were lying. And Bode, something was off. His entire behavior seemed wrong, like someone had forced or threatened him. Tears blurred her sight. Bakery, you are believing lies over your wife on the night you vowed to protect me? Bakery looked away, jaw clenching. Ebel's heart cracked, but she stood her ground, voice trembling but clear. My husband, please listen to me. Someone wants to ruin this marriage already. Don't let them win. Her plea hung in the air. But Bakery's pride was louder than reason. He shouted, someone already ruined it. You did. The room fell silent. Ebel staggered backward, a hand on her chest, pain shooting through her like a knife. Bakery, why do you hate me so much? His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Because you humiliated me. I didn't. I saw the message. I heard Bode. I saw you slip away from the table. You think I don't know women like you? The words pierced deeper than he realized. Women like you. The tone of a man with buried wounds and unresolved history. Ebel suddenly understood this wasn't just about tonight. Bakery had scars, hidden, untreated, festering. But she had no idea who was exploiting them. Then Ebel did something no one expected. She walked around the table slowly, deliberately, until she stood face to face with Bode. The guard froze. Ebel looked him dead in the eyes. Tell me now, who forced you to lie? Bakery stiffened. Ebel. She didn't look away. Bode. Did someone blackmail you? Threaten you? Bribe you? Bode trembled. He looked at Bakery, then at the family, then back at Ebel. His lips parted. Ma. Everyone leaned forward. His mouth shook. I can't say. A collective gasp rushed through the room. You can't say? Ebel repeated. Bode looked like a man standing on the edge of a cliff. They will kill me if I talk. The room exploded. Bakery's eyes widened. What are you talking about? Who? But Bode shook his head violently. Sir, please. I can't. Don't make me. Ebel grabbed his arm. Your silence is destroying my marriage. Bakery slapped her hand away from Bode. Don't touch him. Ebel recoiled, staring at her husband with new realization. He was protecting the wrong person. Or hiding something deeper. Suddenly, the dining room doors burst open. Bakery's cousin, tall, lean, dressed in a burgundy caftan, rushed in, breathing hard. Bakery, I need to talk to you. It's urgent. But when he saw the entire family staring at him like a criminal, he froze. Ebel pointed at him with a trembling finger. You. Aren't you the one who claimed you saw me entering a room with a man? The cousin's eyes widened. Bakery stepped forward. Yes, Cunnel, tell them. Cunnel's throat bobbed. He glanced at Ebel, then at Bode, then at the tense family. Bakery, I think there has been a misunderstanding. Bakery blinked. What? Cunnel swallowed hard. I didn't mean. You lied. Ebel screamed. Cunnel threw up his hands. No. I didn't lie. I only said I saw a woman in white enter a room with a tall man. I didn't say it was your wife. So, why did you text me her name? Bakery shouted. Cunnel stuttered, sweat dripping. I thought. I assumed. Ebel stepped back, horror crossing her face as the puzzle pieces clicked into place. Someone wanted tonight to explode. Someone wanted Bakery to hate her. Someone was orchestrating everything. And she wasn't sure if that someone was in this room or sitting right beside her. But before she could speak, a heavy crash echoed from the hallway. Everyone turned. Bode's eyes widened as if he'd seen a ghost. Then he whispered one sentence that turned the blood in the room cold. "They're here." The entire family froze. Bakery frowned deeply. "Who is here?" Bode shook violently, voice cracking. "The people who told me to lie." The dining room doors began to slowly creak open again, and everyone held their breath. To be continued. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. The dining room doors groaned wider, the sound stretching across the hall like a dying animal. Every head turned sharply. Every breath held. Bakery's chest rose and fell like a man preparing for war. Ebel's heart hammered so hard, she could feel the pulse thudding in her ears. Bode, the guard, stepped backward until his back hit the wall. His voice was barely a whisper. "Please, nobody move." But it was already too late. 3 men stepped inside. Tall. Dressed in matching dark kaftans. Face caps pulled low. They carried no weapons visibly, but their posture alone screamed danger. Lagos men with quiet power, the kind that moved like shadows and left destruction behind. The air thickened. The temperature dropped. It was as if fear itself had entered the room. Bakery stepped forward immediately, his voice sharp with authority. "Who are you, and why are you entering my home without permission?" The man in front didn't answer. Instead, he raised one slow hand, not in threat, but in a calm, calculated signal. The silence that followed was worse than shouting. Ebel moved closer to Bakery unconsciously, her fingers brushing his sleeve. He didn't flinch, but he didn't take her hand either. Too much poison already lay between them. One of the men finally spoke in a voice smooth as oil. "We came for a simple reason. Your guard owes us answers. And we owe him consequences." A ripple of panic traveled through the room. Bakery's jaw clenched. "Bode works for me. Any issue you have with him, you address through me." The leader's slow smile revealed gold teeth. "Normally, yes. But not when he breaks an agreement with our Oga." Ebel felt her stomach twist. Agreement? What agreement? Bode shook visibly. His knees buckled. He dropped to the floor. "Please, please, I did everything you asked." The leader snapped his fingers. His men dragged Bode up like he was nothing but a sack of grain. Bode screamed. "Please, sir. Please. Don't let them take me. They'll kill me. I swear I didn't want to lie against Madam." The room exploded with overlapping voices. "Lie, Madam? What is happening? You lied about the affair?" Ebel felt heat rush to her face, humiliation mixing with fury. Bakery turned to her sharply, his voice low. "So he did lie." Ebel didn't look at him. She couldn't. Her attention was locked on the 3 strangers dragging Bode like a captured animal. She stepped forward. "Wait. If he lied, who told him to lie? Who sent you?" The leader smirked. Wife of Billionaire. You are brave." "I asked you a question," Ebel snapped. But he only tilted his head slowly, studying her. "We were told to make sure your guard pushed your marriage in a particular direction." Bakery stiffened. "What direction?" The man looked him dead in the eye. "To destroy it." The words dropped like a bomb. Everyone gasped. Chairs scraped. Aunties muttered prayers under their breath. Destroy their marriage? Bakery took a step forward. "Who paid you?" The leader smiled wider. "Someone very close to you." Ebel's eyes widened. Close, how close? But the man didn't answer. Bakery's frustration burst. "You step into my house, interrupt my family dinner, accuse my wife, accuse my guard, and now speak in riddles? Tell me the name." The leader chuckled. "If we mention the name, we die. If we don't do the job, we die. We chose the safer option." Ebel cut in. "Safer for who? Not for us." They ignored her and signaled to take Bode away. The guard screamed desperately. "Madam, please. Forgive me. They made me lie. They." One of the men slapped his head downward. Bode collapsed in agony, his words turning into sobs. Bakery lunged forward. "Leave him. He works for me." 2 men blocked him instantly. The leader sighed like a parent tired of explaining to unruly children. "We're not here to harm anyone else." Just the guard who failed to complete the assignment. Which assignment? Ebel yelled, but the leader didn't answer. Instead, he motioned his men toward the door. They dragged Boat out. His scream echoed down the hallway. Madam, sir, don't let them. The doors slammed shut. Silence crushed the room. No one moved. No one breathed. Even the air seemed terrified. Bakery stared at the door, fists clenched so hard his knuckles turned white. Ebel shook violently. Bakery, someone hired criminals to break us apart. Someone close to you. They wanted you to hate me.
He didn't respond.
She stepped closer. Bakery, look at me. Slowly, painfully, he turned his head. His eyes were confused, hurt, angry,
Betrayed.
and she didn't know if the betrayal he felt was toward her or toward the person who manipulated him. My wife, his voice cracked slightly. I don't know what to believe right now. My husband, she whispered, believe what your eyes just saw. Your guard was forced. Your cousin assumed. Someone orchestrated everything. Connell cleared his throat nervously. Bakery, I swear I didn't mean to cause this. Bakery snapped his head. Stay quiet. The sting of the words made Connell lower his head. Ebel turned to face him. Connell, who told you I entered a room with a tall man? Connell trembled. I just saw movement and assumed. Stop lying. Ebel cut him off. You didn't assume. Someone told you to say it. Connell swallowed hard. Sweat slid down his temple. Bakery watched him carefully. Talk, Bakery ordered. Who sent you? Everyone stared. Connell looked like a man being skewered from inside. Finally, he whispered, I can't. Ebel exhaled sharply. Another one who can't talk?
Why?
Because the same people are controlling you. Connell looked at the floor. Bakery stepped forward. Connell, if you don't talk, I swear. Connell raised his hands quickly. Please. It's not what you think. Then make me understand. Connell choked. If I talk, I'll lose everything.
My job.
My house. My peace. They told me to send that message. I didn't know it would cause this kind of damage. Ebel shook her head in disbelief. Who is they, Connell? He looked at Bakery with a mixture of guilt and fear. Someone you trust. The entire room stiffened. Bakery's breathing quickened. Give me the name. Connell looked around the room, eyes flicking over every relative. I can't. You can, Bakery growled. But the cousin stood firm. Broken but firm. I won't, Ebel whispered. Because you're protecting the person? He didn't answer. Which meant yes. Someone in this family. Someone close to Bakery. Someone who hated her enough, or hated their union enough, to destroy their marriage on the very first night. Bakery's mind raced. His uncles? His aunties? His cousins? His father's business associates? Ebel stared at him, reading his thoughts. Bakery, someone here is not happy about this marriage. Someone is trying to tear us apart. His jaw tensed. I know. A quiet gasp escaped her lips. Then why did you believe them so quickly? Why didn't you trust me? His face tightened with shame. Because my last relationship ended in betrayal too. And I told myself I'd never be fooled again. Ebel closed her eyes painfully. So that was it. She wasn't fighting just ordinary jealousy. She was fighting the ghost of a woman who broke him long before she arrived. Bakery inhaled shakily. But now I don't know who my real enemy is. Ebel whispered, Neither do I. They exchanged a look, raw, wounded, filled with unspoken chaos. Then Bakery said something that shook the table. We're not ending this marriage tonight. Even Ebel gasped. Auntie Funmi clapped her hands softly in relief. Thank God. Bakery raised his hand. Don't thank God yet. This house is under attack. And I won't let intruders or traitors destroy me again. Ebel's heartbeat steadied. She didn't know what that meant, but at least he wasn't pushing her out. Bakery turned to the entire family. Nobody leaves this house tonight. Everyone gasped. You think the person is in this room? Auntie Funmi whispered. Bakery's voice was cold. I think the person has been hiding among us for a long time. Connell shifted uncomfortably. Someone's phone vibrated. Everyone jumped. Connell pulled the phone out slowly. One new message. He read it and went white as a sheet. Ebel grabbed his arm. What does it say? Connell's hand trembled violently. He turned the screen toward them. The message read, "If you speak one more word, you will not see tomorrow morning." Bakery snatched the phone. The number was blocked. The room chilled. Then Ebel noticed something else, something tiny but horrifying. The message was sent from inside the house. She whispered, voice cracking, "Bakery, the person who set us up, they're here right now." Everyone turned toward the long dining table. Everyone's eyes scanned every face. And suddenly, someone at the far end of the table smiled. Just slightly, as if enjoying the chaos. Ebel saw it. Her blood froze. Before she could speak, the mansion's power suddenly cut off. Darkness swallowed the room. Someone screamed. Footsteps thundered. A glass shattered. Then, a voice whispered in the darkness. Now the real game begins. The darkness swallowed everything. Screams ricocheted around the room. Hands clutched blindly. Chairs scraped as people stumbled in panic. Someone knocked over a bottle. It shattered, sending the smell of red wine bleeding into the air. Ebel's fingers shot out until she found the edge of the dining table. Her heart thundered so loudly she barely heard anything else. The sudden blackout wasn't random. It was controlled.
Planned.
Someone was inside the mansion, cutting power at the exact moment the message was received. Bakery's voice ripped through the darkness. Everybody stay where you are. Nobody moves. But people moved anyway. Terror always won against discipline. There were footsteps, some running, some shuffling, some creeping. No one knew whose belonged to who. The darkness turned suspicion into a living monster. Ebel called out, her voice shaking. Bakery. Bakery. I'm here, his voice answered somewhere to her left. She followed the sound and bumped into solid muscle, his chest. He grabbed her arms instinctively, grounding her even in his confusion. You're safe, he whispered. Safe. Her voice was trembling, breath hitching. Someone is in this house. Someone who hates us. Bakery didn't argue. For the first time that night, his anger had shifted into something else entirely. Fear mixed with realization. Footsteps approached. Who is that? Bakery barked. Auntie Funmi's trembling voice responded. It's just me. Oh, I'm begging you. Turn on generator before we all faint here. Before Bakery could answer, the lights flickered, then slowly blinked back on, dim, unstable, like the house itself was afraid. Everyone shielded their eyes from the sudden brightness. Bode and the three intruders were gone. Connell was still pale and sweating. Elder relatives clutched their wrappers tightly. But something was different. The long dining table, once set perfectly for celebration, now looked like a battlefield. Plates overturned. Food spilled. Wine dripping from the table's edge like blood. Ebel scanned the room. Then her eyes found what she was searching for. The person who smiled in the darkness. Sitting calmly. Still. Perfect posture. Hands folded neatly in front of them. Zena's, Bakery's stepbrother. He didn't even look shaken. If anything, he looked amused. Ebel's stomach twisted. She whispered to Bakery. He was smiling when the lights went out. Bakery turned to her sharply. Who? Zena's. Bakery's eyes shot toward the end of the table. Zena's stood up slowly, meeting their stares without blinking. His dark blue kaftan looked untouched, crisp, as if he hadn't moved at all during the chaos. He smiled now, openly. Why is everyone looking at me like that? He asked calmly. No one answered. The silence felt like death hovering over the room. Then Zena's chuckled under his breath. You all look as if you've seen a ghost. Ebel felt Bakery stiffen beside her. He stepped forward. Zena's, do you know anything about what just happened? Do I look like an electrician? Zena's replied smoothly. Power goes out in Lagos every day. This was not ordinary, Ebel said sharply. Zena's eyes flicked to her with lazy amusement. I'm sure you think everything is about you tonight, new wife. Even electricity. Ebel flinched. Bakery's voice iced over. Zenas. Stop. Zenas shrugged and leaned back against the chair. I didn't touch anything, brother. If lights go out when your bride cries a little, should we blame Nipa or her ancestors? Gasps rippled across the room. Ebel's face burned. This man, Bakery's own stepbrother, had been openly disrespectful from the first day they met. He questioned the marriage. He questioned her background. He questioned why a billionaire would choose a schoolteacher turned NGO worker instead of a socialite. Ebel whispered, Bakery, he's mocking us. Bakery clenched his jaw. Zenas. Enough. Zenas stood up fully now, stretching lazily as if this were a casual morning. Well, he said with a soft sigh, since your romantic evening has turned into a gangster meeting, I think I'll excuse myself. He headed for the door. Bakery shouted, Hold it there. Zenas stopped, turned, raised one eyebrow. Brother, are you truly suspecting me? The room froze again. Everyone watched. Even Connell lifted his head. Ebel spoke before Bakery could. Someone in this family hired men to frame me. Someone told Connell to send that message. Someone told Bode to lie. Zenas chuckled softly. And you think that someone is me? You enjoyed the chaos, she said plainly. Zenas smirked. Chaos is entertaining. Especially when I didn't cause it. Bakery stepped forward, tension building through his muscles. Zenas, this marriage means peace between our families. If you're trying to destroy it, peace. Zenas laughed bitterly. Brother, you married overnight. You didn't consult anyone. You didn't even tell me until the engagement was official. A marriage without proper traditional steps? And you expect harmony. Are you jealous? Bakery shot. Zena's face hardened. The room went dead silent. Then Zenas smiled again, slow, lazy, poisonous. Jealous? Oh no, I'm not jealous at all. I'm merely observant. He glanced toward Ebel. I observe everything. Bakery moved again. Zenas, answer me clearly. But suddenly, Connell's voice cracked through the air. He wasn't alone. Everyone turned to him. Connell trembled like a leaf. Zenas didn't act alone. Zena's eyes snapped toward Connell with a coldness that froze the younger man mid-breath. Connell flinched. I didn't say anything, oh. I only said. Zenas took one step toward him. Connell scrambled backward and dropped to his knees.
Please. Please don't hurt me.
I didn't talk. I didn't. The room stared in horror. Bakery stepped between them. Zenas. Stop. Zenas didn't even pretend to be innocent now. His eyes were sharp, calculated, dangerous. He looked at Connell. You're shaking too much. People will think you're guilty. They already think I'm guilty, Connell whispered. Ebel stepped forward. Connell,
listen to me.
You can help fix this marriage. You can clear my name. Tell us who contacted you. Connell squeezed his eyes shut. I can't. You must. Connell shook his head violently. I will die. Zenas whispered. Maybe. That single word destroyed the last of Connell's courage. He curled into himself, sobbing. Bakery turned on Zenas. Enough. Sit down. Zenas didn't sit. But he stepped back slowly, lifting his hands. I'm not doing anything. I haven't touched him. Your cousin is shaking because he knows the consequences of his choices. Ebel felt her frustration breaking through her fear. You hate me, Zenas. I know it. But this evil, this plot, this destruction, why? Zena's expression soured. The mask slipped for a split second. You have no idea what this marriage is costing some of us. The words struck a nerve in Bakery. What do you mean by that? He asked. Zenas swallowed hard, and for the first time looked cornered. But he recovered quickly. It means what it means. Nothing more. Bakery stared at him for a long moment, searching his brother's face. Zenas didn't blink. Finally, Bakery turned away. Ebel stepped to his side. Bakery, please. We need to question everyone, not just him. But before they could speak further, someone started coughing violently at the far end of the room. Everyone turned. It was Bakery's elderly uncle, Emeka, clutching his chest and gasping. Auntie Funmi rushed toward him.
Emeka.
What is it? He waved her off, coughing harder. It's nothing. But then he suddenly gripped the table to steady himself, and something small, metallic, and black slipped out of his pocket and clattered onto the floor. Everyone froze. A device. Small. Rectangular. With a blinking red light. Ebel's breath caught in her throat. What is that? Bakery bent and picked it up. His face drained of color. It's a listening device. The room exploded into shouting. Listening device? In whose pocket? What is happening? Emeka. Explain. Uncle Emeka's face turned ghostly white. I don't know how that got into my pocket. But Ebel wasn't convinced. The men knew exactly when Cunnel got that message. They knew when the power went out. Someone inside this house is feeding them information. Bakery turned slowly toward his uncle with betrayed eyes. Uncle, did you know anything about this? Uncle Emeka backed away.
No.
No. Bakery. I swear. But suddenly Cunnel whispered shakily, as if remembering something. That uncle he asked me earlier, who you were marrying and why. Everyone turned. Ebel's mouth fell open. But before anyone could say another word, the device in Bakery's hand beeped. Then a distorted voice played from it. A voice that sent chills through everyone because it was familiar. Too familiar. The voice said, "Make sure Bakery thinks his wife is cheating by night. And if Cunnel fails, use the guard." Gasps erupted like fireworks. Ebel covered her mouth in horror. Bakery stared at the device, his hand shaking. The voice continued. Everything must fall apart before midnight. Then the recording stopped. Silence suffocated the room. Ebel whispered, terrified. Bakery, who is that voice? Bakery swallowed hard. Everyone stared at him, because they recognized the voice too. Slowly, with horror spreading across his features, Bakery lifted his head and whispered, "That was my father." The room fell apart. Lights flickered. Aunties screamed. Someone dropped to the floor. Ebel covered her heart. Zenas sank slowly into a chair. Cunnel burst into tears. And Bakery stood frozen, staring at nothing. His father, the man who raised him, the man he admired, the man he trusted, was behind the entire betrayal.
But why?
The question ripped through the room unanswered. And then, as if the night wasn't done destroying them,
a phone rang.
Bakery looked down. His phone screen flashed with one name. Dad calling. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. The ringtone sliced through the tense air like a blade. Bakery stared at the glowing screen, unable to breathe. Dad calling. Everyone froze, watching him. The entire mansion seemed to tilt as emotions crashed into one another. Confusion, fear, shock, betrayal. Ebel gently touched his arm. Bakery Pickett. He didn't move. His father's voice, the voice he had admired, feared, lived under his entire life, had just been heard on a hidden listening device ordering his marriage to be destroyed. And now the same man was calling like this was an ordinary evening. The phone rang again. Zenas, who had been unusually quiet, spoke softly from the corner. Brother to answer him. Bakery swallowed thickly, then pressed accept. He lifted the phone to his ear, with a trembling hand. Hello. His father's voice came through, calm, deep, authoritative. Son, I heard there was a problem at the dinner. Your cousin called me. Bakery felt his blood curdle. Ebel watched his expression change, shock melting into anger, anger tightening into grief. Father, Bakery said slowly, were you listening to us tonight? A pause. Barely a second, but the room heard everything inside it. Then his father replied evenly, Explain yourself. Bakery's hands clenched. Explain? We found a listening device in Uncle Emeka's pocket. A device with a recorded message. Your voice. Giving instructions. The silence on the other end was heavy. Calculated. Then his father sighed. So you found it. Gasps filled the dining room. Bakery's voice cracked. So, you don't deny it? I don't need to deny anything, his father answered. Everything I do has a reason. Abel stepped closer, whispering urgently, "Put it on speaker." Bakery hesitated, then pressed the button. His father's voice filled the room like an invisible presence. "Good evening, everyone. I'm sure you all have questions." Auntie Funmi shouted, "Questions? You tried to scatter your son's marriage on his wedding night." His father ignored her. Bakery's chest tightened painfully. "Why, Dad? Why did you try to ruin my marriage?" His father inhaled deeply, as though preparing to deliver news no one wanted to hear. "I needed to see if the woman you married was strong enough." Abel's eyebrows shot up. "Strong enough?" "Yes," his father continued. "Marriage is not built on beauty or celebration. It is built on pressure, on fire, on adversity. If she broke down tonight, then she wasn't worthy of being your wife or carrying your name." Abel stared at the phone, disbelief washing over her. "That is wickedness," she whispered. His father continued, his tone maddeningly controlled. "It was a test. A necessary one. Bakery needs a woman who can withstand storms, not a fragile leaf." Bakery shook his head slowly. "You endangered her. You endangered the entire family. You sent men to attack us." "I instructed them not to harm anyone," his father said calmly. "Only to create panic. And to push your new wife into defending herself. I wanted to see her true character." Abel felt tears sting her eyes. "My character? You don't even know me." His father's reply was cold. "I know every woman who approaches my family. Nothing passes me." Those words made the room shift. Connell whispered, "You investigated her?" His father didn't hesitate. "Of course. Thoroughly." Abel stepped forward, voice trembling with anger. "What exactly were you looking for? A flaw? A mistake? Something to use against me?" "Everything," he replied. "I needed to be sure you weren't another woman coming for Bakery's money." Abel's voice broke. "So, your solution was to create a fake story that I cheated?" His father said simply, "Pressure reveals truth." "That's not truth." Abel cried out. "That's manipulation." His father exhaled. "And yet you passed." The room went silent. Abel blinked in confusion. "Passed." His father answered. "You remained calm. You fought for your name. You tried to reason with Bakery instead of breaking down. You stood your ground. That is strength. The strength a billionaire's wife must have." Abel placed a hand over her stomach, steadying herself. "I am not livestock to be inspected. I am not your experiment." His father ignored her anger. "You proved yourself. That is all that matters now." "All that matters?" Abel's voice became cold. "People nearly died tonight. Your son doubted me. A guard was dragged away screaming. And you think it's a test?" "If your marriage cannot survive one night of tension," his father replied, "it will not survive a lifetime of public scrutiny, jealousy, and betrayal." Bakery had heard enough. He gripped the phone, voice trembling with rage. "You put my wife through pain. You humiliated me. You poisoned my wedding night. Are you proud?" His father paused, then simply said, "Yes." Bakery's hand shook. "Why? What are you trying to control this time?" "Your destiny," his father responded. "If I don't shape it, who will?" Abel stepped beside Bakery, voice tight. "Sir, with respect, you don't own your son. He is a grown man." His father chuckled. "You don't understand this family yet, my dear. Nothing here happens without my permission. Nothing grows without my hand guiding it. Bakery's life has always been built by my decisions, this marriage included." Bakery's eyes widened. "What do you mean, this marriage included?" The room froze again. His father exhaled slowly. "I chose you a wife years ago. But you ignored my choice and brought home someone I didn't approve. That is why I had to test her. And test you." Bakery felt like the ground fell from beneath him. "You chose someone else?" "Yes." Abel felt her heart hammer painfully. "So, you sabotaged me because I'm not the woman you handpicked?" His father's tone remained steady. "You're strong. But you're not the woman I wanted for my son. You lack political connections. You lack elite lineage. You lack..." "Enough," Bakery snapped. His voice shook with a rage so deep it threatened to consume the room. I chose my wife, not you. His father's voice darkened. And that is why everything is falling apart. Ebel stepped forward, fire in her eyes. Nothing is falling apart. You are simply trying to control what is not yours to control. His father chuckled low, mocking. You think tonight was the climax? Tonight was only the beginning. More storms are coming for this marriage, and if Ebel cannot survive what I send next. Bakery cut him off. If you try anything again, I swear. Swear what? His father asked. I built everything you own. You cannot threaten me. Bakery's chest heaved. You don't own my heart. And tonight, you lost my trust. A long silence followed. Then his father sighed heavily. I hoped you would understand, but you're still emotional. We'll speak in the morning. The line disconnected. Bakery slowly lowered the phone, eyes empty, hands trembling. The family watched him in stunned silence. Ebel reached for him. Bakery. He didn't answer. Minutes passed before he finally whispered. He wants to destroy us, to prove a point, to make me obey. Ebel touched his cheek. We won't let him. Bakery shut his eyes, leaning into her palm. But suddenly, Zena's voice cut through the room. Brother, you think Dad is the only enemy here? Everyone turned sharply. Zena stood, eyes sharp and dark. There's something you don't know. Something Dad didn't say. Bakery frowned. What are you talking about? Zenas stepped into the center of the room. His voice dropped. There is another person in this family working with him. Someone helping him sabotage your marriage from inside. Gasps filled the air. Ebel whispered. Who? Zena's eyes swept the room. Then he pointed. At someone none of them expected. The second betrayer is standing right beside you. Everyone turned to look. And the chapter ends there. Zena's voice echoed through the dining room, sharp enough to slice through bone. The second betrayer is standing right beside you. Bakery stiffened. Ebel's breath hitched. Every eye in the mansion darted around the room, searching for the one face that didn't belong in the circle of trust. Zena stretched a trembling finger toward the person he meant. And when they followed the direction of his hand, gasps tore through the room like gunshots.
He was pointing at
Ebel's mother, Mama Ifioma, the one woman Ebel trusted more than life. The one person who had stood beside her at the wedding, praying, crying, blessing, defending. No, that's impossible, Ebel whispered, stumbling backward as though slapped. Mama Ifioma looked stunned, then her expression shifted just slightly, like someone whose mask had cracked at the corner. Bakery stared, frozen. You're saying her? Zenas nodded slowly.
yes.
She has been working with Dad since last month. Ebel shook her head violently.
No.
My mother would never do that. She raised me alone, struggled with me, fought for me. She would never betray me, especially not like this. Mama Ifioma's hands trembled, but she didn't deny it. She was silent, and that silence was more revealing than any confession. Bakery stepped closer, voice shaking. Madam, please speak. Tell us this isn't true. Everyone waited. Finally, Mama Ifioma inhaled shakily and whispered, Ebel, my daughter, please, let me explain. But Ebel snapped, voice breaking into pieces. Explain what? That you were spying on me on my wedding day? That you were helping destroy my marriage? Mummy, how could you? Tears spilled down Mama Ifioma's cheeks. I did it because I was afraid. Afraid of what? Ebel cried. Mama Ifioma closed her eyes. Afraid of losing you. The room fell painfully silent. Bakery frowned. That doesn't even make sense. Mama Ifioma reached for her daughter, but Ebel stepped back. Don't touch me. Start talking. Mama Ifioma's shoulders slumped. 2 months ago, Bakery's father called me. He said he had information. Information that would hurt your future if you married into his family. Ebel's voice was a whisper. What information? Mama Ifioma looked away, tears streaking down her face. He told me that if you married Bakery, you would become his puppet. That he would control you. that you would never have peace. He said you were marrying into a war. Bakery's fists tightened. My father lied to you. Mama Ifioma nodded slowly.
Yes.
I know that now. But he didn't come to me with threats. He came with guilt. He said if I didn't help him, you would be destroyed, ruined, that you were walking into danger without knowing. Ebel looked sick. So, you helped him sabotage me? On my wedding night? I didn't want to, Mama, Ifioma cried. But he said the only way to protect you is to test Bakery, test his loyalty, test his strength. Bakery scoffed bitterly. Exactly his style. Zenas spoke again, voice heavy. He didn't just manipulate her. He paid her. He bribed her. Ebel gasped, her knees nearly giving way. Mummy, tell me that is a lie. Please. Mama Ifioma sobbed harder. I used the money to clear the medical debt for your uncle. And to fix the house roof. I didn't use it for myself. I swear. The words cut like a knife, but did nothing to ease the sting. Ebel stared at her mother, pain filling every corner of her soul. You sold me to the enemy. You sold my happiness. You sold my peace. No, please, Mama Ifioma cried, reaching again. Ebel stepped back again. Her face hardened. You betrayed me. And you betrayed Bakery. The shame on Mama Ifioma's face was a wound that spread across the room. Bakery turned to Zenas. How did you find out? Zenas sighed. I saw Dad with her 2 weeks ago at a private restaurant in Ikoyi. She was crying. He was paying her. I followed them discreetly. I didn't want to believe it. But then, tonight, when the device appeared, her behavior changed. The way she avoided everyone's eyes. Bakery nodded slowly. You kept quiet all this while.
Yes.
Because I needed proof. I needed to wait until the truth exposed itself. Ebel's voice cracked. Mummy, why didn't you talk to me? Why go behind my back? Mama Ifioma collapsed into a chair. Because I was ashamed. And your father, God rest his soul, always told me I must protect you from the world you're not prepared for. Bakery's jaw clenched. So, your solution was to join forces with my father? The man who is trying to destroy his own son's happiness. Mama Ifioma broke again, this time harder, almost violently. I thought I was saving her. I thought if I helped him now, he would stop interfering later. I didn't know he was using me. Ebel let out a bitter laugh. He used you. And you let him. Mama Ifioma flinched as though slapped. The room felt like it was shrinking, suffocating under the weight of betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak. Bakery ran a hand through his hair, overwhelmed. First my father. Now my mother-in-law. Who else is involved? Who else is working for him? No one answered. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Ebel straightened, wiping her tears with trembling hands. Her voice grew firm, cold. If my own mother can betray me, then I have no protection left in this world. Bakery stepped toward her. You have me. Her eyes softened, but only slightly. Do I?
Tonight you doubted me.
Even if it was for a moment, it hurt. Bakery swallowed painfully.
I'm sorry.
I should never have let anything shake my trust in you. Ebel nodded slowly, but her heart still quivered. She took a deep breath. We need to fight back. Bakery met her eyes immediately.
Yes.
This time, together. No more fear. No more hesitation. Zenas joined them. I'm with you. That man has controlled our family for too long. It's time someone stood up to him. Bakery looked at his younger brother, surprised but grateful. You're choosing us over him? Zenas's voice hardened. I'm choosing what's right. Mama Ifioma spoke again, her voice cracking. Please let me make this right. Let me fix what I've broken. Ebel didn't look at her. First, we need to know everything you told him. Every conversation. Every detail. Mama Ifioma hesitated. I told him everything you told me in private. Ebel's heart dropped. Bakery turned sharply. Everything? Like what? Mama Ifioma whispered. Your fears. Your insecurities. Even the pregnancy scare from last month. Bakery's eyes widened. He knows about that. Mama Ifioma nodded shamefully. He said he needed to know the truth before letting the marriage go forward. Ebel was shaking. Mummy, how could you tell him everything? Mama Ifioma broke down again. I thought he genuinely wanted to protect you. I was a fool. I didn't know he planned to twist everything. Bakery stepped closer to Ebel, lowering his voice. We need to gather proof. Evidence. Something concrete that shows my father is manipulating all of us. Zenas nodded. I know how to get it. There's a safe in his private office, one he thinks no one knows about. All his real plans are in there. Documents. Contracts. Recordings. Everything. Bakery's breath caught. You've seen the safe?
Yes. Once.
But I never dared go near it again. Ebel looked at both brothers. So what do? Zenas took a deep breath. We break into his office. Tomorrow night. Mama Ifioma gasped. That's dangerous. He's watching everything. Bakery nodded. That's why we must move smarter than him. Ebel's voice turned ice cold. He wanted a storm? We'll give him a hurricane. Zenas added. If we find proof, we can expose him publicly. End his control. End his manipulations. End his intimidation. Bakery clenched his fists. For the first time in my life, I'm ready to fight him. Ebel's voice softened. Then we fight together. The room fell into heavy silence until Mama Ifioma whispered. There's something else I haven't told you. Everyone turned sharply. Her hands trembled violently as she wiped her tears. He didn't just use me for information, he threatened me. He said if I didn't cooperate, he would reveal something from my past. Something that could ruin everything. Bakery frowned deeply. What past? Mama Ifioma swallowed hard. Ebel grabbed her mother's shoulders. Mummy, what is he holding over you? Mama Ifioma's lips trembled. And then she whispered the words that froze every soul in the room. Your father did not die the way I told you. The entire mansion fell silent. Bakery stared. What does that mean? Mama Ifioma's eyes filled with a horror deeper than guilt. It means your father's death is connected to Bakery's father. Ebel staggered backward, nearly collapsing. Bakery's blood turned to ice. Zenas covered his mouth. Mama Ifioma whispered, voice breaking beyond repair. He killed him. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. The room felt colder than harmattan. Mama Ifioma's confession hung in the air like a curse. He killed him. Ebel's legs weakened, and Bakery caught her before she collapsed. Mama, what do you mean? She whispered. Mama Ifioma covered her face with shaking hands. I kept it secret for years because I feared no one would believe me, and because the man is too powerful. But yes, your father didn't die in an accident. He was made to disappear. Bakery felt sickness crawl up his throat. My father killed her father? Why? Mama Ifioma took a long, trembling breath. Because he believed your father owed him money. A debt from a failed partnership many years ago. When your father couldn't repay it, he disappeared days after their last meeting. Zenas muttered, this just keeps getting darker. Ebel pulled away from Bakery and stared at her mother, heartbroken. So you kept quiet because he threatened to expose this? Mama Ifioma nodded slowly. He said if I opened my mouth, he would destroy everything. My job, our home, your future. And I believed him because I knew what he was capable of. Bakery felt fury bloom in his chest like wildfire. My father murdered a man and hid it, and now he's trying to destroy my marriage too? His voice shook with a rage that felt older than his own heartbeat. Zenas stepped forward. This is why we must get proof. If we can access his safe, everything will be inside. Evidence. Documents. Maybe even confessions or recordings. Bakery nodded grimly. Then we break into his office tomorrow night. Ebel wiped her tears, her voice firm.
No.
Not tomorrow night. Both brothers turned to her. Ebel's eyes blazed with a fire they had never seen before. We do it tonight. Zenas blinked. Tonight? But he may still be awake. And his security. Tonight, Abel repeated. Before he knows we know the truth. Bakery hesitated. It's risky. Abel stepped closer, gripping his hands. Everything he has done was risky. He played with our lives. He humiliated me. He controlled you. He used my mother. And he killed my father. I refused to sleep while he breathes freely. Her voice broke, but her resolve didn't. Bakery stared at her, this woman he married not even 12 hours ago, and felt admiration flood his chest. You're stronger than he thinks. I know, she whispered. But now it's time he learns. Zenas cleared his throat. So how do we get in? His office is in Lecky Phase 1. High walls, cameras, guards that rotate every 30 minutes. Bakery paced slowly. I still have access to the property. I'm his son. My fingerprint opens the back gate. Zenas added. His office is upstairs. The safe is behind a false wall panel. You'll need the code. Bakery frowned. Do you know it? No, but I know something close. The code is always based on important dates. His birthday, his wedding, the opening date of the company. One of those. Ebel's mind sharpened. Then we try all of them. Once we get inside, we search everything. Mama Ifioma suddenly grabbed Ebel's hand. My daughter, please. Don't go near that place. If he finds out. Ebel gently pulled away. Mummy, you're scared because you faced him alone. But we're not alone. Not anymore. Bakery placed a hand on Mama Ifioma's shoulder. We need the truth to protect this family. And to honor your late husband. Her lips trembled, but she nodded. Zenas checked the time. It's almost midnight. The guards will be more relaxed now. Night shift is always weaker. If we leave in 15 minutes, we'll arrive when the rotation is happening. Bakery exhaled deeply. Let's dress in black. Hoodies. No jewelry. No noise. Ebel nodded. I'll get the gloves. Zenas looked at her. You're coming with us? Ebel held his gaze. You think I'll sit at home after what I just heard? Never. For the first time that night, Zenas smiled. Then welcome to the rebellion. Within minutes, the three were dressed in dark clothes, ready to step into danger. Mama Ifioma watched them from the hallway, fear and pride battling in her eyes. Please be careful, she whispered. Bakery kissed her forehead. We'll return before dawn. The mansion door closed behind them. The night was heavy, humid, thick with tension. They entered Bakery's SUV and sped down the quiet streets of Ikoyi toward Lecky Phase 1. The city lights blurred into streaks. Nobody spoke. Everyone was thinking the same thing. This night could change everything. As they approached the massive gate of Bakery's father's estate, Ebel's heart began to pound. The guards were in their small post, laughing softly over a football match on a small screen.
Perfect.
Bakery parked a short distance away and stepped out. Ready, he whispered. Zenas nodded, pulling up his hood. Ebel exhaled. Let's end this. Bakery placed his thumb on the hidden scanner beside the side gate. A soft beep followed. Access granted. The gate clicked open. They slipped through the shadows, moving toward the back of the mansion. Then suddenly, a voice boomed behind them. Who goes there? A flashlight beam cut through the darkness, landing directly on their faces. Bakery froze. Zenas grabbed Ebel's hand. The guard shouted again, Stop, all of you, and reached for his radio. The guard's flashlight burned through the darkness, freezing them where they stood. Bakery lifted his hands slowly, palms open. Relax, it's me. The guard blinked, confused at first, then shocked. Sir Bakery? What are you doing here at this hour? His voice trembled. He wasn't expecting anyone, especially not the boss's son dressed in black like a midnight intruder. Zenas stepped forward carefully. We just came to pick something from upstairs. But the guard shook his head immediately. No one is allowed inside without clearance tonight. The Oga gave strict instructions.
Of course he did.
Ebel felt her stomach clench. That man controlled every corner of this property, even in his sleep. Bakery kept his voice calm. Look, we don't want trouble. We just need to get something quickly and leave. The guard hesitated. His fingers lingered on the radio at his hip. Ebel saw it, the doubt in his eyes, the fear, the instinct to follow orders. And underneath all of that, uncertainty. She stepped forward gently, her voice soft but steady.
Please.
We are not here to cause any harm. I know this looks strange, but we need your help. The guard swallowed hard. Madam, if I let you enter and Oga finds out, my job is gone. He will finish me. Ebel nodded. I understand.
Truly.
But what if I told you this is a matter of life and death? Not just for us, but for many people in this family? The guard frowned. Madam, I don't understand. Her voice cracked, quiet, emotional, real. I just found out something terrible about my father. And this is the only place the truth might be hiding. If you stop us now, everything dies with the lies. The guard's eyes softened for a moment, but then he shook his head again more firmly. My job, my family, they depend on this work. I cannot risk anything. Zenas exhaled, stepping back in frustration. Bakery rubbed his forehead, trying to think. Anything to keep the guard from raising that radio. Ebel stepped closer to the guard, her voice trembling. What's your name? Boma, he answered hesitantly. Ebel nodded slowly. Boma, do you have a mother? He blinked. Yes. Does she depend on you? Yes, he whispered. Do you love her? He nodded again. Ebel's eyes glistened. Then understand me. Tonight mine broke. She confessed something that will haunt me for the rest of my life. Something your boss caused. If we don't get answers, I may never heal. Boma looked shaken now, caught between orders and empathy. Ebel took one more step, her voice barely above a whisper. Please don't stop a daughter from finding the truth about her father. Tears touched her voice, subtle, controlled, but devastating. Boma's hand slipped off the radio. He looked at Bakery, then at Zenas, then back at Ebel. Madam, he whispered, I can't let you enter the house, but… They all held their breath. I can pretend I didn't see you. Bakery's chest loosened for the first time in minutes. Boma, thank you. But listen carefully, Boma interrupted, voice urgent. There are cameras inside. If you enter through the back hallway, one camera is blind. The one near the staircase. Use that path. And, please hurry. Ebel exhaled shakily. Thank you. Boma lowered the flashlight, turned around, and walked back to his post without another word, just a prayer in his eyes that he wasn't making the biggest mistake of his life. The moment he disappeared behind the wall, Bakery grabbed Ebel's hand. That was brave. It was honest, she whispered. They moved swiftly, sticking to the shadows as Boma directed. The massive mansion loomed ahead of them, beautiful, intimidating, full of secrets that had shaped all their lives. As they approached the side door, Zenas whispered, Once we enter, every step counts. No noise. No hesitation. Bakery nodded. Let's go. He pressed his fingerprint on the small side scanner. A soft click. The door opened. The interior was silent, too silent. The kind of silence that pressed against your ears, made your heart seem louder than your footsteps. The hallways stretched long and dim, lights set in soft amber along the floor. Every portrait on the walls felt like a pair of watching eyes. Ebel shivered. This house feels wrong. Bakery whispered. It always has. They crept forward, following Zenas's lead as he pointed toward the blind spot near the staircase. The moment they reached it, Ebel felt her heart thudding violently in her chest. Up the stairs, down the hall, to the private office. Just a few minutes more. Zenas whispered. The office is at the far end. When we enter, the safe is behind the left wall. We must move fast. Bakery nodded. Let's finish this. But before they took a single step, footsteps echoed from upstairs. Heavy.
Slow.
Purposeful. Someone was awake. Ebel's blood froze in her veins. Zenas's eyes widened. That's not a guard. Bakery grabbed Ebel's wrist, pulling her deeper into the shadows. The footsteps grew louder. Closer. A tall silhouette appeared at the top of the stairs. Broad shoulders. Slow steps. A familiar gait they all knew too well. Ebel's breath caught. Bakery's heart dropped. Zenas whispered urgently. Oh, God, it's him. Bakery's father stood at the top of the staircase, wide awake, and staring directly into the darkness where they hid. Bakery felt Ebel press into his side as the silhouette descended the stairs. Every step his father took echoed like a hammer against stone, slow, steady, deliberate. Zenas swallowed hard, his whisper barely audible. He never comes out at this hour, never. And yet here he was. Bakery's father stopped halfway down the stairs, staring into the dark hallway below as though he sensed something hidden in the shadows. No one breathed. Ebel felt her heart pounding so violently she was sure he could hear it. Bakery placed a steadying hand on her back, grounding her, calming her trembling body. His father spoke suddenly, his deep voice slicing through the silence. "I know someone is here." Ebel's fingernails dug into Bakery's sleeve. Zenas closed his eyes tightly. Bakery's father stepped one level lower. "Come out."
Now.
No one moved. His father's tone hardened. "You think I do not hear the shift in the shadows? You think I do not feel when someone trespasses on my property?" Another step. Another creak of the stair. Bakery felt a tremor ripple through his chest, not of fear, but of anger. This man still ruled every space he touched. Suddenly, a voice crackled faintly from upstairs, a guard's radio, faint chatter drifting in from the hallway. His father paused, looking over his shoulder. Zenas leaned in and whispered urgently, "We need to move now." While he's distracted, Bakery nodded, gripping Ebel's hand. Quiet as ghosts, they slid deeper into the dark corridor, moving toward the office room at the end of the hall. Every step felt like walking on broken glass. Bakery's father turned back toward the stairs, but this time, he didn't continue descending. He lingered, frowning, as though trying to reconstruct the sound he thought he heard. Then he finally muttered, "Maybe it was the guard," and slowly began climbing back up. Ebel's knees nearly buckled from relief. Bakery exhaled shakily. Zenas wiped sweat from his brow. "That was close," Zenas whispered. "Too close." "Let's finish this," Bakery murmured. They reached the final door, the office, towering and dark, carved with ornate patterns that seemed to stare back at them. Bakery pushed the handle.
Locked.
Zenas stepped forward. "He always keeps a key hidden wait here." He crouched near the floor and pressed down on a small wooden tile. A tiny compartment opened, revealing a metallic key. Ebel blinked. "How did you?"
Zenas shrugged softly.
"I learned a lot by watching him. More than he ever realized." They unlocked the door and slipped inside. The office smelled of leather, old books, and power. Thick, suffocating, intimidating. Framed photographs lined the walls. Bakery's father shaking hands with politicians, foreign investors, military officers. A man who lived for influence. The safe was behind the left wall panel, just as Zenas described. Bakery pushed the panel aside, revealing the steel door of a heavy-grade security safe. Zenas exhaled. There it is. Bakery touched the keypad. His code. It must be a date. Something he values. Ebel stepped closer, voice low. What were the most important moments in his life? Bakery listed them quietly. His birthday, his company launch date, his wedding anniversary. Zenas shook his head.
No.
He doesn't value emotional dates. He values achievements. Victories. Bakery paused. His first award, the day he signed his biggest contract. Then Ebel whispered something that made both brothers turn. What about the day he destroyed something? The room chilled around them. Bakery stared at her. You mean the day her father died? Ebel's eyes hardened.
Yes.
If he kept records of everything, why wouldn't he hide the darkest one behind that same date? Bakery hesitated only a moment before typing the date Mama Ifioma had revealed earlier, the day her husband vanished. His finger hovered, then pressed enter. For a breathless moment, nothing happened. Then,
click.
The safe unlocked. Ebel covered her mouth. Oh my God, Zenas whispered. She was right. Bakery pulled the handle. The heavy door swung open with a low groan, revealing stacks of documents, sealed envelopes, cash bundles, and several labeled USB drives. Zenas grabbed a file. Look, these are signed contracts with shell companies. Bakery pulled another. These are offshore accounts. Abel reached for a brown envelope marked with a year she recognized. Her breath caught. This is the year my father died. Her hands trembled as she slid out the document inside. And when she opened it, her eyes widened in horror. Bakery leaned closer. What is it? Abel's voice broke. It's a signed confession. From someone who witnessed the last meeting between your father and mine. Bakery felt his blood run cold. A confession? From who? Before she could answer, Zenas hissed sharply. Someone's coming. Footsteps.
Fast.
Heavy. Bakery's heart slammed in his chest. They're coming down the hall. Abel scrambled, trying to put the papers back. Zenas shut the safe door halfway, but not in time. A shadow appeared under the door. Then the handle turned. The door swung open, and Bakery's father stepped into the office. Eyes wide, expression dark, voice calm but deadly. So, this is what you've been up to. Bakery's father stood in the doorway like a shadow carved from iron. His eyes swept across the open safe, the scattered documents, the three of them standing frozen like thieves caught in the middle of a crime. He didn't shout. He didn't blink. He didn't even breathe. He just smiled, thin, sharp, poisonous. So, he murmured, stepping inside, my own blood sneaking into my office like petty burglars. Bakery stepped in front of Abel instinctively. We came for the truth. His father's jaw twitched. The truth? You think rummaging through my private files makes you worthy of it? Zenas moved closer to Bakery. We know what you did, and now the world will know too. Their father's eyes snapped toward Zenas, cold enough to freeze bone. You ungrateful boy. You think I raised you to challenge me? No, Zenas said quietly. You raised us to fear you, but tonight that ends. The older man let out a slow, mocking breath. And she put you up to this?
He pointed at Abel.
The outsider with unhealed wounds? The girl who came into this family pretending to build peace, but only sowing rebellion. Abel stepped forward despite Bakery's hand trying to stop her. I didn't come to destroy your family. You did that yourself. His eyes glittered dangerously. Abel held up the envelope, the one containing the witness confession. You ended my father's life. You broke my mother. And you thought you buried every trace of it. But you kept the proof. You kept it like a trophy. The room went silent. His father's face twitched, only once. You don't know what you're talking about. I know enough, Abel whispered. Bakery's father walked slowly toward her, each step heavy with menace. Bakery moved between them instantly, jaw tight. Touch her, Bakery warned, and I swear. His father laughed sharply. Or what? You'll raise your voice? You'll leave my company? You think anyone will inherit a kobo from me if they betray me? Zenas lifted his phone. Maybe no one needs inheritance. Maybe we just need the truth. Their father froze. Zenas tapped the screen. I recorded everything. Your face. Your threats. The moment you saw the files open. The moment Abel mentioned the confession. His father's expression shifted, small, almost invisible, but it was there.
Fear.
Because for the first time, he wasn't in control. Bakery added, and once the witness statement is scanned and uploaded, even destroying the physical copy won't save you. Abel held the envelope close to her chest, breathing heavily. You can intimidate your employees, your business partners, but you can't intimidate the truth. Their father suddenly stepped back, just one step, and his voice dropped to a deadly whisper. You think you've won? No, Bakery said. Not yet, but we're close. His father let out a slow exhale, then something chilling crossed his face. A smile. Oh, my children, you still have no idea how this world works. He reached into his pocket. Bakery tensed. Zenas reached forward. Abel held her breath. A moment later, their father pulled out
his phone.
He tapped quickly, then lifted it to his ear. Security. Office wing.
Now.
Abel's heart stopped. No, no, no. Zenas whispered. He'll lock us in. He'll seize the documents. Bakery grabbed Ebel's arm. We have to move.
Now.
His father blocked the doorway, voice calm as ever. You are not leaving this room. All of you will wait here quietly until my men arrive. Ebel's pulse raced. He'll destroy everything, including us. Bakery's father leaned against the doorframe casually. You should have thought about that before betraying your own blood. Footsteps thundered in the hallway, multiple guards, closing in fast. Zenas scanned the room desperately. There's only one way out, the window. Bakery looked at the heavy curtains behind the desk. That drop leads to the back garden. Ebel whispered, It's high. His father smirked. By all means, jump. Let's see what loyalty to a dead man gets you. The guards' footsteps grew louder. The three of them looked at one another. Bakery touched Ebel's cheek gently. We don't have time to hesitate. Zenas pulled the curtains aside, unlocking the window. Cold night air rushed in. The guards reached the door. Bakery's father stepped aside, folding his arms. Game over. Zenas climbed onto the window ledge and reached for Ebel. Come, hurry. Ebel placed one foot on the ledge, when suddenly the office door burst open. Four guards stormed inside, and two of them went straight for Ebel. Bakery roared, Don't touch her. The guards grabbed her arms, hard, yanking her away from the window. Zenas tried to pull her back, but was shoved to the floor. Bakery lunged forward, but his father raised a hand. Let her go. The guards froze. Everyone stared at him. His father stepped toward Ebel slowly, smiling.
No.
Bring her to me. The guards pushed her forward. Bakery struggled against the men holding him, shouting her name. Zenas tried to rise, but another guard pinned him down. Their father lifted the envelope from Ebel's hand with deliberate slowness. She choked. Please don't. He opened the envelope. He saw the confession. He smiled wider. And then, he tore the paper cleanly in half. Right in front of them. Ebel screamed. Bakery's face broke. Zenas shouted. And oh! The shredded pieces fluttered to the floor like dying birds. Their father whispered, Now, let's see what you do without proof. But before he could leave, Ebel lifted her head slowly, eyes sharp, voice shaking but steady. There is still someone alive who knows the truth. The room fell silent. Their father's eyes narrowed. Who? Ebel stared directly at him and whispered, Your oldest enemy. His face went pale. Bakery's eyes widened. Zenas's mouth fell open. The guards looked confused. Ebel whispered again, He is still alive. And their father, for the first time in their entire lives, trembled. Bakery's father stared at Ebel as though she had spoken a curse. His face, usually carved from stone, twisted into something they had never seen before.
Fear.
Real, trembling fear. He stepped closer, voice a harsh whisper. What do you mean he is alive? Ebel didn't flinch. The man who witnessed everything. The one who saw you the night my father died. You thought you silenced him, but you didn't. Zenas pushed himself up from the floor, breathing hard. You mean there's a living witness? Ebel nodded. And he's ready to speak. Bakery's father laughed suddenly, loud, forced, cracking at the edges. You're lying. You're all lying. But his voice shook. Before he could say more, a voice erupted from the hallway. Sir, there are reporters outside, many. They're asking for a comment. Everyone froze. Bakery's father spun toward the door. Reporters? At this hour? Zenas smiled darkly. Looks like the truth traveled faster than you expected. Bakery's phone buzzed. He pulled it out, his eyes widened. Ebel whispered anxiously. What is it? Bakery turned the screen to them. A viral post. A leaked statement. Caption. Top Lagos billionaire linked to decades-old death of rival businessman. Witness comes forward. A live stream showed dozens of journalists crowding outside the mansion gate. Ebel covered her mouth. He spoke, he finally spoke. Bakery's father stood still, completely still, like a monument struck by lightning. No, this is impossible. Zenas stood up straighter. You built your kingdom on fear. But fear doesn't last forever. Bakery stepped toward his father, eyes burning. All these years, you controlled everything, Our childhood, our choices, our future. But you forgot one thing. His father whispered. What? Bakery answered softly. The truth doesn't need permission to survive. The guards looked uncertain now, glancing between the billionaire and his children. Ebel stepped forward. Let us go. His father staggered backward, stunned. For the first time, the guards didn't move. They no longer followed his commands blindly. Bakery took Ebel's hand. Zenas walked beside them. They stepped out of the office. No one stopped them. The mansion entrance. The massive front doors swung open, revealing flashing camera lights, microphones, yelling journalists, and police vehicles pulling up. The moment they appeared at the entrance, the crowd erupted. Bakery. Miss Ebel, is it true? Is the witness safe? Was there a cover-up? Bakery held Ebel protectively. Zenas addressed the cameras boldly. We will cooperate fully with investigators. The witness is in safe hands. This family deserves truth, and we will not hide anymore. Reporters shouted, pushing forward, but officers formed a barrier. Behind them, in the doorway, Bakery's father appeared, stunned, pale, trembling. The cameras turned instantly. Sir, do you deny the allegations? Were you involved in the death of Mr. Ifeoma? Is it true your sons are turning over evidence? He raised a hand to shield his face. For a man who once commanded entire boardrooms with a single stare, he suddenly looked small. Very small. Ebel stepped aside, watching him. Her voice cracked, but not from fear. From release. This is not revenge, she whispered to herself. This is justice. Bakery wrapped an arm around her shoulders. He can't hurt anyone anymore. Zenas added quietly. And the world finally sees him for what he is. As officers approached their father, placing a respectful but firm hand on his shoulder, he looked at his sons. Broken. How could you do this to your own father? Bakery met his eyes steadily. You stopped being a father the moment you destroyed ours. Their father swallowed hard. He said nothing as he was escorted toward the waiting car, cameras flashing like lightning across the night. Ebel watched him go, not with triumph, but with the calm sorrow of someone finally released from chains. A soft breeze swept across the driveway. She exhaled slowly.
Free.
Finally free. Bakery took her hand. Your father can rest now. She looked up at him, eyes warm, tired, but glowing with strength. And your family can finally rebuild. Zenas stepped closer, placing a hand on both their shoulders. We'll do it together. Ebel nodded. 3 wounded hearts, standing as one. The crowd continued shouting questions, cameras flashing, lights blazing. But for the first time in the entire story, peace settled inside her chest. Not perfect peace, but honest. Hard-earned. Sacred. Bakery whispered. What now? Ebel smiled faintly. Now we write a new story, one built on truth. She looked back at the mansion, once a monument of secrets, now exposed to the world. Then she turned away from it, and didn't look back.